Hello.
Hal, it has been a long time. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, it has been probably the longest since we started talking 2.5 years ago.
That's
Y-
right.
Yeah, it's weird. I get these memories from Facebook and Instagram, and it says 2 years ago you were talking to Bonnie. I'm like, oh my God.
We talk more often than that, but we've had a big break for sure, especially when we were used to speaking to each other every single week for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. So everything good with you?
Everything is perfect with me. I'm in my office today. I just did a Dominican flag raising to
All
celebrate
right.
their 159th Independence Day. So, yes, wonderful day.
Awesome. Cool. So let's get started. A lot of questions here. Okay, so LRT loop. Okay, we are 2 years until it's supposed to be done. Okay, are we going to get the LRT loop? Have you talked to Doug? Has he said yes?
So we had the opportunity to participate in the AMO discussions, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Sunday through Wednesday afternoon. We have an annual conference that, of course, we attend, and I led about 24 delegations to all the key cabinet ministers. The premier was in attendance, but we didn't have the opportunity to speak to him directly, but certainly made that pitch to every single cabinet minister that we met with, and they know it is our top priority to have the loop restored as part of the plan. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful. They can add it at any time. And I know that Metrolinx has been looking at it, and I know that the minister is supportive of it. So I think it's just a question of finding the right funding package for it. So I'm very hopeful. Fingers, toes are all crossed. And, we really need it when you see the kind of density and intensification that is coming to the downtown. We have 57 towers planned,
Crazy.
25 of them in the next 5 years, and then just the OMERS Oxford project alone, the Square One project, is another 37 towers, so one per year for over 30 years. So we certainly need access to public transit. It's the right thing to do to build that infrastructure as you're building in the new towers and you're building your community. Our population will increase from 30,000 to 70,000, and there will be an additional 30,000 jobs added. So it's great news for our city. People need access directly to public transit because it's a little bit far from M City to the corner of Huron, Ontario, and Burnhamthorpe. So we're very hopeful that we've made a compelling case, and they're just looking for ways to scope it back into the project and find the right funding package.
Two more questions about the LRT loop. Like, even if,
Sure.
let's just say, even if Doug Premier Ford says, "Hey, you're going to get the LRT loop back," can we build it at the same time as the rest of the track?
Right. So it is engineered such that it can be added at any time.
Okay.
So if he makes that call today, they can certainly start on it for sure, or added later, whenever. We certainly the loop is really key for us to realize our full economic potential in our downtown. It'll drive investment, it'll drive prosperity, and it's just the right thing to do to get more cars off the road, provide that north-south link on the regionally integrated transit system. We've got the BRT already. We've got two more BRTs being proposed. We're looking at Lakeshore, and so we absolutely need the loop to service the density that is coming into the downtown. The Premier himself has been encouraging us to, increase the supply of affordable housing, and so we're trying to do that. And obviously, the loop is a key component of adding a greater supply of affordable housing.
One more question about the loop. Premier Ford, in an interview that I did with him, did mention something about getting the developers to pay for part of it. Is that something you guys are talking about?
So those kind of incentives like TIFs and TEAGs and a community-specific tax plan program, they're used to incentivize growth. And many of those tools are not at our disposal yet. So they would have to pass legislation to allow us to use them. But as I said, they're also used to incentivize growth. But in the downtown, we don't need to incentivize growth. We have a lot of it. We need to service the growth with public transit. So they're not quite, they don't quite fit the definition of what those tools can be used for. And many of those buildings have already been, have been approved, and units are being sold. It's very difficult to go back now and have those developers change their pro formas. They've got all their financing in place. So that has to be done at a different stage. Perhaps an area where we want to encourage development, we could ask for the authority to implement one of those kind of financing tools. But right now we don't have that tool approved or at our disposal, and it doesn't meet the definition of what that tool could be used for.
Okay. That was my last LRT loop question. Okay, so
I'm with you. We'll just keep at it. We'll keep.
What is your gut telling you? It's gonna happen.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
And
there you go.
We have all across Peel, we have government members. We have a cabinet minister here, and Minister Khalid Rashid, who's a really great guy. We have a great relationship, and we've counted on them before when we've needed something desperately, as you recall, lifting the 5% cap on the PILTs. And our MPPs have delivered for us. So I'm counting on them to go back to the cabinet table and to pitch the Premier, pitch cabinet, and say, this is really necessary in Mississauga, and I know that they're going to deliver.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, so I got to ask, what does the strong mayor's legislation do? Like, what is that? Because, I mean, it's not like how much can you bench, right? I mean, like, it's, what is that? We know what I mean.
Yeah, by the way, I was at F45 this morning. Did you see that Mark Wahlberg came to the Collingwood location? Everyone in my gym were really envious. So that's just a little...
I thought you were going to say he came to your Port Credit location.
I know. What if he had? Oh, my goodness. So, no, he has not. But strong mayor. So, the devil's in the details. We're really looking to understand more about it. We've asked that they continue to do consultation with those municipalities that have not been given those powers, I will say. I will tell you that here in Mississauga, we're highly productive, and I operate by consensus. There are very few pieces of legislation that aren't passed unanimously. I would say 90 to 95% are passed unanimously. So we have a great collaborative team. We get the job done for Mississauga. So this kind of legislative power is not something I feel I need as a mayor to address provincial priorities. But I'm willing to look at it. I think it gave my councillors a lot of comfort that should any mayor, me or any mayor, use the authority, that 2/3 of council could veto it. So I think there's a level of comfort there, but I'm not sure it's the kind of legislative power that I myself would use or require. I have been calling for legislative reforms when it comes to cities. My number one ask, of course, is that we be a standalone city. And so I'm wondering if it wasn't given to us, because we're the third largest municipality in Ontario, because we're two-tier. Was that a consideration? Is that why it only went to Toronto and Ottawa? But nonetheless, we've asked for all kinds of reforms, revenue tools, myself, independence to control my own destiny as a standalone city. This has never come up, so this wasn't something we'd ever looked at. This was clearly an initiative from the Premier himself, as something he's seen that has worked effectively elsewhere. But I'm not sure. I'd like to better understand circumstances where I would need that power, because we are very supportive of the provincial agenda here in Mississauga. We agree we want to bring more affordable housing supply to our city. We're on top of that. We've just passed motions on inclusionary zoning, IZ. So we are in line, in sync with their priorities. So the team is very effective as we are. I wouldn't want to undermine the team. We work together very well. And I'd like to learn about those instances where the provincial team would think that a mayor would need to impose those powers, because things are working really well here. We have our agenda, we work together in consensus, but at the same token, I think it gives them some comfort, at least, that if I did do something they disagreed with, they have that veto ability.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Toronto and Ottawa, correct, that have the mayors too?
Yes, the top two cities, the largest cities,
Yeah,
we would be the third largest city. So I wondered why he didn't take it to the top three. And was the fact that we were two-tier have anything to do with it? So I'm very hopeful maybe they'll make that change first.
true. So, well, let me ask about the change then. I know there was a lot of asks that you had for Premier Ford over his election.
Yes.
No, we were just talking about, Mississauga being its own city, right?
Yes.
Have you made any headway with that?
So we, spoke about all our top priorities to the cabinet ministers when at AMO, and largely they included many of our infrastructure and transit needs. Obviously, the loop was number one, right? All day two-way on the Milton line was number two because that's critical. A new transit terminal right here in our downtown because we have exceeded capacity. That terminal is the second busiest in the GTA after Union Station. So largely my asks were about our infrastructure needs, in giving the cities the kind of revenue tools to help address the issues that we face today that weren't anticipated in the 19th century when cities were created. So we're being asked to build 21st century cities with 19th century tools. We've got to address the effects of climate change. We've got to address homelessness, housing supply, certainly the opioid crisis, the mental health issues. There are so many issues we deal with as cities today that were not anticipated when cities were created. So, we need a new deal for cities. That was very important to us as well. But largely our transit and infrastructure needs were the first items that I would always raise in every meeting. And don't forget, these meetings are a lot like speed dating. You get 15 minutes, so you've really got to get to your key issues, and that's it. Not a lot of time for chit chat or nice abilities like how was your weekend? None of that. This is Mighty Mississauga. These are our issues, and these are our asks.
I think that'd be great television. So, no, I guess the one thing I'd say, please bridge from square one to the new transit terminal or a tunnel.
Well,
Because
see, that entire area is being redeveloped, right? That's where 37 new towers are coming in. Was part of the Oxford OMERS plan that the lands around Square One. So that area will change completely. So you may or may not need that eventually.
Sure. Marina.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the marina?
So you know what? It is still a top priority. I know that Rudy Cazzetto, who is the MPP for the area, is passionate about it as well. And it is in his hands to deliver the EA funding for us and to proceed with it. It's still a priority for us. It wasn't on my list of top 5 priorities. And as I mentioned, we only had to get out the really key ones because you have limited amount of time. But certainly is one of our top asks, and it's still a priority. And we're working along with the MPP for the area to deliver that.
Nice. I think about it, it's such an exciting time for Mississauga. You guys have like a
so
blank.
Much growth.
Yeah, exactly.
So much growth. And that's why I'm really passionate about putting my name forward for mayor again, because I want to see these projects through. I think I've provided good, strong, steady leadership, and there's so much on the go that I want to see completed.
Awesome. Given there's a lot of reports in the media about home buyers having to pay enormous kind of like unexpected closing costs. And I know you're going to the province and asking to kind of, better protect the home buyers.
Create new legislation. So absolutely, we passed a motion here. It was something I worked on very closely with my staff to create. And then I called the minister, who happens to be our minister, Khalid Rashid, and I spoke to him about this. And he says he is in sync. He completely agrees, and he's planning legislation himself. And so that was very good news. And then he said, that's great that I can say that Mississauga is supportive of what we're doing. And I said, absolutely, we are. We've had a couple of instances recently where some home buyers were surprised by closing costs. And I understand why the developer would do that, because they try to make it appear as though the price of the home is lower than it is, but then you're adding $150,000, whatever the number might be, to their closing costs. And that's not fair. So that number must be upfront and transparent to the home buyer. We cannot surprise them at the very end. So we are asking that their money be reimbursed with interest, and that there is further protection for this kind of bad actor behavior, that they be penalized as well. So I know that the minister is on it, and we are very supportive, and he was very pleased to hear that we would say supportive things. And of course we are, because we want to protect our residents. Nobody should have to face this kind of bait and switch scandal, which has been occurring and has occurred not only here, it's happened in a couple of rare instances here, but it's happened right across the GTA. We've all read those stories. So let's do something about it.
Awesome. October election, there's going to be at least 3 new councillors.
Yes, that's right.
That doesn't happen very often. So are you excited for the new blood?
So that's a quarter turnover to my council. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's terrific. It gives everyone an opportunity. I've looked at the list. There are a lot of candidates registered. And I'm very pleased to see that, by the way, because I did read the article in the Toronto Star this morning that there are wards in the city of Toronto where there are no candidates. So we have an opportunity to bring, young, diverse people onto council. And that's something that, I think we've all been looking for, to encourage greater diversity so that our council better reflects the residents and the demographics of our great city.
Awesome. Let's have a fun question here. There's a lot of top restaurant lists, national top restaurant lists that come out. And Mississauga often gets left out.
Oh, how is that possible when we have
I don't know.
incredible restaurants here?
We're the 7th biggest city, right? And
yes, that's true.
I know this, can we do anything to incentivize restaurants or kind of...
I think we just need to nominate them. I think that's what happens. We just need to get active on social media and nominate and talk about our great restaurants, because we have so many. I mean, we have top tier restaurants here, and we know that you can experience any part of the world by visiting our restaurants. We have people from 150 different countries, and I've been sampling all summer long. And, some of the ones that I attended, Masraoui, the Egyptian restaurant, give them a plug because they are fantastic.
Say what's up to Mo.
There, Dr. Mo. Summit Garden, as you know. And what I love about the folks at Summit Garden is they're so generous. They host a number of fundraisers there as well. They give back to the community in profound ways. I'm partial to Bobby's Hideaway because it's very close to where I live. Okay. And so you can slip out there for breakfast meetings.
Hey, Mayor Crombie, did you know that in Summit Garden, I know this, Barack Obama ate there?
Did he really?
Yeah. 03, his half-sister got married. And the wedding banquet was at Summit Garden. Anyways, yeah.
That is really impressive. I didn't know that, but I know he mispronounced our city name, but I'm sure he got corrected when he got to Summit Garden, because they're very proud of being based in Mississauga.
He was just being a funny guy. He knows.
Good.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry, you're saying other restaurants? Okay, Bobby.
There's so many. There are so many. I know you always asked me to talk about my favorites.
I'm not gonna
there are so many, and now I'm actually working with our Board of Trade and the CEO there, Trevor McPherson, and we pick a part of the city and go knock on the doors of small businesses and all the local restaurants, and we've been sampling. And so I must tell you, over the past few months, I have had the most incredible experiences from different parts of our city, just sampling great restaurants. So if you go back to my Twitter, you'll probably see some of those places that we have visited.
And then you go straight to F45.
Correct.
And this weekend is the Japanese Festival of Canada. You're going to be there?
Are you excited? I am so excited for that festival. Mind you, every weekend we have outstanding festivals, and I've been at many of them, if not every one of them, participated in some way with all of our festivals. But this is the big one for sure. This is the largest of all the festivals. So the Japan Festival is on Saturday afternoon. I'll be there, and Sunday. There's lots going on this weekend. I know it's Ukrainian Independence Day event as well, and they host that just outside our border on Centennial Park, but I'll probably drop in there as well. As you know, I'm Polish-Ukrainian background, and I want to be very supportive of what's going on in Ukraine and of the Ukrainian people. All right, so yeah, it's going to be an exciting weekend. I can't wait.
Awesome. Cool.
And the weather, I hope the weather is favorable as well. I'm sure it will be.
And I got a question from Instagram. I think it's, is it Alex?
Oh, no.
Who's your favorite granddaughter? LOL.
Athena.
Okay, there you go.
Athena's my favorite grand puppy.
All right. There you go. That's all I have, Mary Crombie. Thanks so much. I'll catch you this weekend, Saturday.
See you there. That'll be great.